So we have our three users again. The first user is the one who's interested in design data. And you can see here we have a profile with some of our design data tables and design data modules. Here we have our user who is interested in polymers. And you can see here we have some subsets, some records that are specific to polymers, and some data modules that are specific to polymers. Finally, we have our user who has some composites data to upload into the system. So this user will want to use the composites database and go straight to that database. So, keeping with this user, with the composites data, in terms of profiles, every time you add a database to the system, it automatically gets a standalone profile that's listed in the list of profiles. So let's just quickly click over to Viewer. So you see here we have Viewer. Our profiles are listed here, and you can see all of the databases that I've added to my system are listed here as well. I have one profile already set up, but we'll look at adding some others later. So if we want to look at particularly materials or the metals template, we just have to click on there through the profiles. So that's our user who has a database and only wants to look at that database. So we can be sure to direct that user to the data that user is interested in. But what about these two who have a number of databases that they want to use? So they want very specific databases, they want very specific tables, and perhaps even tables or even specific attributes that they want to see. So these profiles each have a common theme, and once you have set it to that profile, all of the searching and browsing that they do will be restricted within that theme or within that profile. So we can make sure that they have a really customized personal experience with MI. So let's define what we're going to do for our engineer who wants just design data. We'll call the profile design data, and we'll make sure that we have MMPDS in there and our in-house design data tables. I'm going to go set it up in admin in the profiles section, and then we'll go into viewer and just check to make sure that I did it all correctly. So let's do the demo and get going here. Going to launch admin. Here we go. You're probably used to clicking on schema and going straight into the schema here, but we're going to click on profiles. When I click on profiles, you can see here we have all of our standalone database profiles. So like I said, every time you add a database to the system, you get one of these profiles. And here we have some custom profiles. So we're going to add a new custom profile. So create a new one. The profile name, like I said, is design data. Group name is how it's categorized in that list of different profiles. So I'll just call this one demo so you can see where it goes. Description. We'll see how that comes out in viewer. Go to next. And here we choose exactly which bits of the data modules come out. So like I said, we want to add all of MMPDS09. We want design data from the composites database. And we want the design data from the metals template. So this is how we can make sure we get just the tables we want. Next, we get to choose the order. So we can say that we want the composites to go right at the end, metals, and then MMPDS09. And we're going to be happy with the standard subsets and layouts in this case. There we go, checks to make sure. Next, there we go. We have our first profile set up for our engineer. Let's go here to viewer. We're going to refresh our tree. And now you can see under the heading demo, we have design data. If we click here, we can see we have our metals template, MMPDS09, and composites in the order that I said, and the description is the text that I randomly wrote in there. So you can see here we're getting the default standard homepage with the text that I gave, a simple search, and our standard descriptions of the data sets. So there we go. We've made our first profile. We are well on our way to helping our end users. Okay, so what are we going to do for this user who's interested in polymers? Because the name will be polymers. We know that she wants Materials and Process Universe and Campus Plastics. But you can imagine with Materials and Process Universe, the default subset is all materials. And that's got ceramics, fibers, all sorts of information that she won't need and will clog up any of her searches, will confuse her if she's browsing. So we want to narrow it down so that she gets just the data that she's interested in. We can narrow it down with all bulk materials, which gets rid of the fibers and particulates. We could give her metals. She's not interested in metals. Or we can stick with the polymers subset, which is just the polymer records within the system. So we'll set her to the polymers all subset, and similarly we'll set it to the polymers layout, which means that the attributes that she sees when she's looking at Material Universe will just be the ones that she's interested in. So she won't have to deal with something like galvanic potential, which is really irrelevant to her use case. So again, we're going to set this up in MIAdmin in the profile section, and then we're going to check in MIViewer. Let's get this set up. So again, we're going to create a new custom profile. This time it's going to be called Polymers. The group name you can see here, if I hit this button, I get the ones that we've already created. So we'll put that under demo as well, and I'll skip the description this time. So we want to add Material Universe and Process Universe, and all of our campus data. Let's go to the next one. I'm fine with that order. And this time we want to set preferred subsets and layouts. So let's click on that. And it gives us the option of choosing which subsets and layouts we want. We want a per table selection for Material Universe. And we want that polymers all that will give us both the elastomers and the plastics. Let's do the same for the layouts to give properties that are specific to polymers. And for Process Universe or the Campus Plastics, we don't need to choose anything if we don't want to. So let's go next. There's the summary. And there we go. We have a new profile now. If we go back, refresh our tree again, and there we go. We have our new polymers profile. So we now have profiles particular to all three of our users. We have a polymers profile for the person who's interested in the polymer properties. We have the design data profile for somebody who's restricted to just using design data. And we have our composites database profile for the user who wants to upload some composites data.